Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to take one gorgeous masterboard and turn it into 4 mixed media projects. So the masterboard that I'm using, I recently created. It is these warm, rich tones. It has lots of texture. I will link the video where I show how I made this beautiful masterboard if you want to go and check it out. Project 1, we are going to do an art journal page in my 7x10 Canson Mixed Media art journal. So the first thing I'm going to do is just glue the masterboard down onto the mixed media paper. I'm using gel medium because the masterboard is a little bit thicker. There's some collage papers and thickened gesso, and I find that the gel medium works best. Now to add interest to my background and to set off the focal image or build up the focal image, I am going to put a series of circles. Now I collect the lids off the tops of containers. I just keep them close and they make great templates. There you can see the magazine picture that I'm going to use as part of my focal image, along with the circles that I have just added. This is a quick, easy way to add to your page, and it's so simple. So I just trace those circles with my Stabilo All pencil, and before I get going, I'm going to glue down the magazine girl, and I chose a black and white image. Now all the focal images on all these projects are pretty much black and white, and the reason for that is my background is gorgeous. It's colorful and bright. I don't need any more color. So I'm deciding which circle is going on top of which circle, and I'm just using a damp cloth to get rid of the Stabilo All pencil that I don't want. Now I noticed that I forgot to cut out the middle part on here, so I am just adding some pink and some orange to make it look like the background is peeking through. Oftentimes with magazines, like here, we have a letter. I don't want that letter on her arm, so I'm just taking some white gesso and then some gray paint and just filling it in, covering it up. I want to edge my page with black acrylic paint. I'm using the angle brush, and I'm using that shading technique that you've seen me use 100 times before. Or is it 1,000? This page is really so easy, as are all 4 of these projects. When you start with a masterboard that is gorgeous and ready to go and to be used as an Insta background, it really jump starts the creative process. I got all 4 of these projects done in just over an hour. So now I'm doing that same shading technique, and I'll link the video where I teach how to do this technique if you want to learn. And you can see how this very simple shading makes these circles pop and changes the background. It adds so much interest. I'm using sentiments from my latest sentiment pack, Reach for the Stars. All my sentiment packs are digital downloads that you can purchase at Ninny's Napkins. I'm picking out a few of those sentiments there, and then I'm auditioning them to decide which one is going to fit better. When you have circles there, that makes a perfect home to add weight to your sentiments. When I type out my sentiments, I try to use fonts that are bold. I find they show up on the page better. So I play with the sentiments until I'm happy with the option. And then I end up put everything, all the excess that I've printed out, I put in these plastic envelopes, and it's at the ready. it's in my stash at the ready for the next time I'm creating. That will save time down the road. I found the quote in there, endless possibilities, and make it happen. And that's really, you have endless possibilities with a masterboard. You take the time to create it once, and then it gives you possibilities for future projects. Gluing this down with my fluid matte medium. I'm going to add some stitch work with my liner brush and thinned white acrylic paint. Using the liner brush makes for a bit of a thicker line, but you could use a Posca pen to add the stitching. You can go over it if it's not as opaque as you like. All the projects made from this masterboard are super, super quick and super easy. Loving the texture that's there. So we still have more masterboard, so I grab a 5x7 card. And I'm just going to cut that out. Now I'm doing a card. You could do a 5x7 canvas board. It could be a 5x7 art journal page. Masterboards can be used for whatever you create most. Now I want to have a white border on the card. It's a look that I just absolutely love. So I'm cutting off the excess, kind of eyeballing it. So I get that nice white border all the way around. Just like that. Now before I glue it on the card, I am going to edge it with black. And the reason I'm doing it now, before I glue it down, is there's less likelihood of me getting it smeared onto that white border that I want to have. So I'm just going to edge it right now, and once it's completely dry, you'll see me gluing it onto the card base. The card base that I have, I think I either picked up at Michael's or at a craft store here. But they're not super expensive by far. So I want to audition some focal images, and I have a bin of focal images that I've cut out at different times, and the excess, because I'll stamp 3 images, goes into this bin. So I went and I pulled out a variety of them. And as you can see, as long as I'm sticking with the black and white, anything pretty much goes. I've got stamped images here, I've got free printables, I've got digital prints, we've got the crazy birds. So it's simply a matter of picking one that you really like and matching a sentiment to it that goes together. The key thing here is with this bright, bold background, I'm keeping my focal image white and black. Now I'm playing around with it. Because I don't have to spend any time making the background for this, I can spend the time auditioning the various possibilities. I I switch up the orientation, I do different things. Now I'm spending time going through this, and that's not time wasted. I'm going to decide what I want for the card, and I'm going to decide which images I want for project 3 and 4. I'm really loving this poppy printable. It really looks good on the card. But I'm liking these die cuts. Now these die cuts actually are the remains when I cut something out on my silhouette. I was cutting something for my mixed media kits, and whenever there's extra space, I put some random shapes, stars or hearts or hexagons, that I can then use on my art journal pages. So I have a lot of hearts. I'm liking the look of the hearts. So as you can see, I'm spending a lot of time moving it around, playing with it, deciding how I want it. I have these envelopes that I put the cards in. That just helps to keep them clean. And once again, I'm just gluing it down with my gel medium. I find I get great adhesion if I put the gel medium on both surfaces. I'm eyeballing to get that nice white even border, using the brayer to press it down to make good contact, and then just making sure that everything's glued down. And then I put a coat of the gel medium on top as well. And that just seals everything and turns it into a non-porous surface. This time, I'm working with sentiments from my short and sweet sentiment pack, and I'm auditioning them. There are some that are black letters on a white background and white letters on a black background. I like the black backgrounds. The short and sweet sentiment pack is one of my favorites. It's great for card making and ATCs and iCads. I'm just edging the hearts with a makeup sponge and black acrylic paint. It just stands out a little bit better once it has that little bit of black on it. You just want to be sure that this is completely dry before you attempt to glue those hearts down to the background, or it'll smear. Now this card I absolutely love, and you can do different variations of this card. Do a multi-make of this card where it's basically the same with any bright background. And then you can just change up the sentiment on it. Go through the short and sweet sentiment pack and use different words. Or this could have been an art journal page as well. I just like the idea of making usable art. Now I'm putting the matte medium on the top as well to seal it. Dream, grow, bloom. I'm using my Sakura glaze pen and just adding stitch. The Sakura glaze is dimensional and glossy, so it adds a little little extra to the card. And I think it makes the heart stand out. When you're working with the same background and you have lots of ideas, you can really save time. Now I'm using my Sakura white and adding the stitching around the outside. And a good splatter of gold. Like I said, I think this would make a great multi-make where you make a variety of them using different Masterboards or different gel prints. Project 3, I'm working on a 6x6 mixed media display board. It's from the Crafter's Workshop. I'm adding a coat of matte medium, and then I'm just going to glue that Masterboard down. So this Masterboard took about 30 minutes to make, and from it I've made 4 different projects as well. Oop, there's a sneak peek of project 4. Once it's dry, I'm going to turn it over and use my X-Acto knife and just cut off the excess. And I have only one little piece left, and I'm going to use that to cover up a 4x4 canvas board. You know those poppies that I love so much on the card? Well, I really wanted to use it. So I have like a small display rack near my coffee maker, and so this 6x6 display board is going to go there. And I swap it out throughout the seasons. But I love poppies, so this one's going to be a perfect addition. This poppy was a free printable. It's just printed on copy paper, and I'm just gluing it down. I'm just using fluid medium here because it is just thin copy paper. Here's project 4. It's a Christmas tag. So I glued the background for my Masterboard to the tag, and then I found these die-cut starfish in my stash. And I had the saying, starfish kisses and Christmas wishes, from a coastal Christmas project. So I shrunk it down to fit this, and I'm making a Christmas tag. This could be a gift tag. I could put this on a wine bottle. Just add a ribbon of your choosing. I'm edging the mixed media board with black. I don't want that white to show. And then I'll edge the tag as well. Now, this is just copy paper, and it looks like copy paper. So to give it a more painterly look, I'm taking white gesso and I'm just kind of globbing it on, painting over it, just to get rid of the look of raw paper. I'm not worried about going over the lines. I'm going to fix that coming up. I toyed with the idea of adding a little bit of color, but I decided No, I'm going to keep it just black and white. There's a little bit of texture added. Then I'm doing the same to those starfish. That's just copy paper. And I wanted to add a little bit of texture to it. But I'm really keeping it simple. And simple is effective. This is back to the Reach for the Stars Cinnabon pack. And I have a page of larger words. There's black and then there's white bubbles. I think I like the black one better. But it's nice to have options. I'm just gluing that down there. Reach, grow. I've got some 6x6 cards. This could easily have been a 6x6 card as well. Now I'm just edging it with that same shading technique. You'll notice that the same techniques get used again and again. So no matter what theme you want to go in, you could follow the steps here. Use your stamped images, use magazine images, printables, free printables or digital printables that you purchase, Digistamps. The nice thing about those is you can resize them to fit your project. I'm shading around the poppies here just to make them stand out. And I'm going to shade around those starfish as well, just to make them pop. With shading, I do one layer, let it dry, and then you can always add more. Build it up as you see fit. Decide to paint the centers of the poppies. That's just thinned black acrylic paint. Now I'm backed with that Sakura glaze, and yes, more stitch work. Why look for something else when that was working perfectly well? And it just really works well. This black and white with the bold background, just a winning combination. This tag could also be a bookmark. A little bit more line work with the Sakura glaze pen. And remember where I overpainted with the gesso here? I'm just using that Sakura glaze to outline the black lines here, with the added advantage that now it's dimensional and glossy because I'm using the Sakura glaze. So don't be afraid to have a basket of focal images, of sentiments that are always there within arm's reach to use on projects like this, and then go to them when you have this and make use of them. They're already cut out, they're already decided. It's limiting your choices, and that means you're going to get to create more in the time that you have. I've got close-ups of all 4 projects. I'd love to know which one you like the most. Until next time, go get creative.